Happy afternoon. Welcome to noontime. You name it, I would be in a perky ass mood. But for the last 30 days, Stuart, I've been in a funk with a low grade headache because the world continues to show it's a bunch of liars. So, welcome back to the Rant Network. That guy over there drinking his cup of coffee is Stuart Brisgell. I am David Solomon. I'll have my espresso momentarily. We keep diving in over the last month into this one raw, unfiltered issue. No, it's not the Israel Palestine cause. No, it's not that conflict. No, it's about humanity. It's how humanity and the right and the left continue to fight each other. What I mean by right is not right as in conservatism versus liberalism, but right values versus wrong values. That has been the rant for the last month, and we will continue that today. So, ladies and gentlemen, this absurdity continues. So, let us dive in. Folks, one of the amazing things is that in a 24-hour period, the world can pivot on its head. But to give it now since Friday, and you got to wonder how the world is still rotating on its axis. Over the weekend, millions of protesters around the world fought, argued, were violent, protested for the annihilation of the state of Israel, to kill Jews. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, many, many, many of those Palestinian protesters that you saw in cities like Montreal, Toronto, New York, Washington, D.C. at Freedom Plaza, in London and all kinds of other places were chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, essentially eradicating Jews. Stuart, over the weekend, some reporters had the actual intestinal fortitude to go up to protesters and say, is this what you really want? Are you looking to eliminate Israel? And the honest one said yes. Stuart, I'm just viled by the unbelievable gall, chutzpah, call it what you want, of average everyday people who haven't a clue what they are saying.
David, the phrase is from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. It's a slogan used by supporters of the Palestinian cause. Its concise expressions is the aspiration for a single independent Palestinian state encompassing the entire territory from Jordan River to east to the Mediterranean Sea, effectively covering the historical area that they're calling Palestina. Kind of funny, eh? The slogan is associated with the idea where the current state of Israel would cease to exist and merge into a single democratic, inclusive state.
Bullshit! Sorry. Okay. I had to sneeze there. So sorry.
Now, let me tell you something. In 1933, there's the rise to Adolf Hitler took power. We called it neo-Nazism. The world was blind till what? What year, David? 1939, when the Germans walked into France.
Poland.
What?
Poland.
Well,
September 1st, 1939 was Poland.
Poland, then
France was later on.
Yeah, not that much later. The bottom line is, here we have a group of people that are not shy to say death to Jews. From the river to the sea is death to Israel. There is a jihad against Jews all over the world. You have airlines giving 50% off coupons to those that commit jihad and are martyred. Did you think in 2023, where you have gay rights, transgender rights, freedom of speech rights, that you would find people that would be so vile and repugnant? But even in the halls of Congress, you have the squad. You have people that are Jewish like Bernie Sanders that will not call out his cohorts for being genocidal maniacs.
But he will ask. He did say no ceasefire.
Great. Thank you so much, Bernie. I really appreciate it. Stay skiing in Stowe, Vermont with your Ben and Jerry's anti-Israel company. At the end of the day, I got people I went to high school with. Normal piece of Pakistani. His name's Sal Khan. I mentioned him before. Moves to New Jersey. Becomes a staunch Obama Democrat. Moves to Texas, thinks he's become somewhat of a Republican, and believes the videos and propaganda on TikTok and death to Israel's. Whether he has a radical imam that's telling him crazy ass stories, but the facts aren't out there. In fact, the news cycle doesn't give you the facts. And therefore, here we are 100 years later, almost to the year, you have another rise of massive anti-Semitism. It's not just anti-Israel or anti-Zionism. It's death to all Jews. It's an open season to kill a Jew if you support Hamas. Hamas's charter is death to Jews all over the world. It doesn't matter. Hamas is recognized as a terrorist organization here in the United States. It's a terrorist organization. Let me repeat that. Hamas is a terrorist organization directly controlled by the Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran. Wait a minute. Did I just say these morons walking in the streets who have no fucking idea who the Ayatollah Khomeini is? In fact, most of those morons marching don't even know where Iran and Iraq are on a map. But here we are, November 6th, 2023. And I have to advertise that I believe in that Second Amendment. I have to tell you that every man, woman, and child that's a Jew should own a gun. They should learn how to use a gun. They should be trained to use a gun. No.
Stuart, this is your opinion, and I do not condone what you're about to say.
Yep.
But go ahead, please.
You don't have to condone it at all. Because here in the United States, they're beating up Jews in the street. Yep. And do you find that?
And a gun, brandishing a gun.
You said brandishing, David. You said brandishing.
No. I'm saying you're going to carry a gun.
World War II.
Someone's going to beat you up. Someone's going to come at you.
You would like to be a history buff, but you really forget history.
No, Stuart, I don't. I'm arguing. No. Here's one time. No, you got to stop. You got to stop.
First needed after World War I to take control of all arms and remove arms.
This is what I'm trying to ask you a question. This is not historical. Okay? This is a question of you're now telling everybody if that, you know what, go carry a gun. That's it. That's the only solution.
You should go and learn how to use a firearm today.
Okay, so you know what? It's that's your opinion, and I got to tell you something.
Do you support, David, that every man, woman, and child the age of 18 joins the Israeli army that lives in Israel?
You know what you've just compared? No, you know what you just compared? I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, there's an existential threat to the people that I love and adore, my family, who have been serving for generations. And here you're talking on the other side, a failure of a system, but you're telling me everybody should have guns. Because if you think that a Jew carrying a gun will stop the enemies from carrying their own guns, then you're the one who's delusional.
No, David, but the enemies are carrying the guns anyways. The enemies has the gun anyways.
Stuart, this isn't the point of the rant, but this is really
but I wanted to touch on the topic.
You're telling me now every Jew should be carrying a gun in the United States.
Every Jew in America should know how to use a firearm.
Wow.
You took it one more.
Sorry, folks. This is an American's perspective, not mine. I do not condone this. I will never condone that everybody should be carrying a gun. That's just, I think it's wrong. I think that it just leads to more death. And I'm not some liberal. Before you go throw me off a bus there, I'm not some liberal. But, I know you want to do that and you want to paint me, because if I don't agree with you, then I must be on the other side. So you're no better than a lefty. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate the remark in the face. So,
ceasefire, David. They're advertising a ceasefire. Do you want a ceasefire, or do you want Israel?
This is the conversation here is, if I bring out a gun, I haven't taught shit to anybody. This is the mistake. Okay,
the problem is, David, you've taken the comment and gone off the deep end.
I let you go. Hold on. I let you go now for a good 8 minutes.
More like
now you got to listen. Okay? Here's the thing. You got a defective system. You've got terrorists who've come through. You've hired terrorists in universities. You've got terrorists working in government. Guns are not going to stop right now what's going on. What's got to happen is you've got to eradicate the terrorists. You've got to eradicate the people that are the problem.
What do you mean by eradicate?
I don't mean shoot them dead. But you want to know something, Stuart? I got to tell you something. If I were in Russia right now, where they went out there and they were going to beat up Jews the way they did in that airport, I agree with you. But in the United States and Canada, let me tell you something, that for the first time in our history, we are getting security. We are in a better position. Not perfect. I won't say it's perfect, but I will tell you this. This is not going to change. If we start holding guns, nothing changes. We've had resistances. Let's talk about history. There have been resistance movements. This doesn't work. The cancer is in the system. You've got universities that have promoted this. There are now class action lawsuits being filed against Ivy League schools and other universities for promoting racism on campus. You want to hurt somebody? It isn't with a gun, Stuart. The universities only know about money. And if you take away money, then that's where the pain lies. And it's the same thing where businesses are stopping to hire from these universities. Again, painful. So the way you got to deal with this is that you start with the leadership in the White House and in any prime minister's office. And there are some leaders in this world who've stood by Israel and have said the following: there will be no ceasefire. There is not going to be a ceasefire because the people who broke the ceasefire was Hamas on October 7th.
Great. Israel. Perfect. David, I was trying to get there.
There is no ceasefire. Now, over the
weekend, there was a ceasefire. No, David, there was a perfectly good ceasefire.
Yes. No, it wasn't perfectly good. Yes. It wasn't perfectly good. No, it wasn't, because if it's perfectly good, then you disarm. You don't rearm. You don't do quadruple. And by the way, it's a lie that Hamas respected it, because since 2014,
there were tens of thousands of rockets. Tens of thousands of rockets
have been fired into Israel. So there was no ceasefire. So here's the problem with all that. Okay? Germany did not get a ceasefire in 1944 or 1945, okay? 9/11, there was no ceasefire to let people, Afghanistan, there was no. We've never had a ceasefire. Only when Palestinians are involved. We have to have a ceasefire. Humanitarian cause. We distort the truth. The way to fix the problem is to fix the truth. The truth is, when you look on LinkedIn and Facebook and TikTok and you see those horrific lies. Mark Zuckerberg is in a hospital right now because he was preparing for an MMA fight, and he tore his ACL. Shit, man, go through your goddamn system and clean out the lies. No, we're going to shit on Elon Musk because Elon Musk's not doing it on X. The TikTok is spreading lies. These Chinese love the fact that we're spreading lies. There's not one vetted piece of information. It's all lies. Hamas 10,000 people have been killed. You know what, people? How many of those 10,000 were actually killed by Hamas? We're going to throw them in because nobody will believe that, everybody believes Jews killed Palestinians, but not the other way around. This isn't about guns, Stuart. And you could say what you want. My personal opinion We are in a world today where we are in a position where we can influence. And it is a ballot, there is a ballot coming within 12 months. And it's the time now. I mean, 12 months, folks. You've got an election in the United States that could pivot the entire electoral system there. Now is the time to put pressure on all those leaders to show their intestinal fortitude. And you know what? The squad, thank you, Democratic Party, for putting somebody to go up against Rashida Tlaib, because she doesn't deserve to be in power.
No, she
And the
deserves to
Democrats
be deported.
The Democrats are showing their true colors, Stuart. Okay? Everybody was laughing at the GOP, how divisive they are, and that they got rid of a speaker. You can't even control your own people with their racism. They're hardcore racists. And to sit there and to continue to spew the racism that Tlaib does, and you support it, you mean you, Bernie Sanders? You should all be voted out. And we'll see what happens at the Virginia election this week, and then we'll see again in 1 year from now in the United States, Stuart. This is what's got to happen. Put pressure on your politicians. Put pressure on your mayors. We should not permit it. I watched a protest happening in Kingston, Ontario, where my son goes to school, okay? And I want to tell you, the letter campaign going to the university and to that city is unimaginable. We can no longer sit by quietly, Stuart.
I agree. You're not getting an argument from me. I'm getting an argument from you. I'm saying,
you were the one who wanted,
David,
said
you
should
took
have
down a
done.
tangent. Now let me finish my initial statement and we'll wrap it up. I believe it's time that every man, woman, and child that's Jewish learn how to use a firearm. I didn't say brandish a weapon, David. That's a criminal offense, David. But taking people to let them understand how they can protect themselves in the event that it happens again. The mass slaughter of Jews in 1940, 1939, throughout the entire Holocaust, and the days leading up to the Holocaust had a contributing factor that all Jews didn't have any weapons to defend themselves. And what you called the resistance was the countryman French resistance, because the Jews did not resist in any way at all.
Stuart.
Yep.
I'm not even going to argue with you on that one.
Oh, good.
But because really, for the next rant,
yep,
do some homework.
Okay.
Just do a little bit of homework. Okay. But here's the what? Oh, I did. Oh, I
good.
You and I will argue about this offline.
Good.
But folks, Jews slayed like lambs in the 1930s because they believed that they were more German or more Polish or more anything than they were Jewish. Hitler proved, and all the racists proved, that is not true. Canadian Jews, American Jews, you've woken up to realize that, you know what? They don't care if you're Canadian or American. You're a Jew. And so whether you're Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, Reconstructionist, or atheistical, whatever you want to call yourself, for these enemies, you are a Jew. And it could care less of what your passport says. You are a Jew. And this, unfortunately, is what these protests have proven. That they will come after you and they will want to kill you. The problem is that the majority of the people who are cheering this on have absolutely no freaking clue what they're saying. But it's just cool to stand there. But there is a minority that is, and it is frightening. And while I don't agree with carrying a gun and whatever, we do need to learn how to defend ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, David, that was the most massive compromise that David Solomon has ever done with me in 40 years. Congratulations, David.
Well, I thank you very, very much on that one, Stuart, and that compliment was really needed. Thank you so much for tuning into today's Rant Network, folks. Once again, this dialogue, we do not pre-record.
Nope.
We go live.
Yep.
And you can see here, we can disagree, and this is the way it should be, that people should be able to disagree and have a conversation and have a dialogue and come to some sort of resolution, not protest violently, not destroy property, not deface the White House. Come to a table and have a real conversation. So engage us on social media, share your perspectives. We really do appreciate your feedback. And until next time,